In this video we will cover all 8 chapters for life in the UK test. We will discuss everything you need to know to prepare for each chapter, and we will also discuss various questions for each chapter. These questions are taken from real-life exams and are a great way to practice for your real test. Make sure to watch the full video, as I will not only tell you the correct answer for each question, but I will also explain the reasoning behind it. This video is designed to be listenable as audio only, along with a video explanation. So if you don't have time to prepare for your life in the UK test, this one video will help you prepare for your entire test, and you can listen to it whenever and wherever you want. So sit back, relax, and let's start with the first chapter. Chapter 1. Geography and Locations. This chapter will test your knowledge about the various regions, landmarks, and geography of the UK. Remember, the more you know about the geography of the UK, the better prepared you'll be for this chapter. Now let's get started with the questions for this chapter. As the name suggests, for this chapter you will be asked various mock questions about different regions, landmarks, and other geographical areas of the UK. Question 1. Which of the following castles is in Scotland? Craiths Castle, Carnarvon Castle, Bodiam Castle, Powys Castle. The correct option is A. Explanation. Craiths Castle is located in Scotland. Question 2. Where is the Giant's Causeway located? Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Giant's Causeway is a land formation of columns made from volcanic lava located on the northeast coast of Northern Ireland. It was formed about 50 million years ago. There are many legends about the causeway and how it was formed. Question 3. When was the United Nations set up? After the First World War? After the Second World War? Before the First World War? Before the Second World War? The correct option is B. Explanation. The UN was set up after the Second World War and aims to prevent war and promote international peace and security. Question 4. Each of the UK countries is associated with a flower symbol. Which country is associated with the rosé? Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England. The correct option is D. Explanation. The countries that make up the UK all have flowers which are particularly associated with them and which are sometimes worn on national saints' days. The flowers associated to each country are as follows: England the rose, Scotland the thistle, Wales the daffodil, and Northern Ireland the shamrock. Question 5. Which 2 of these forts were part of Hadrian's Wall? Vindolanda, Maiden Castle, Housesteads, Grimsby. The correct option is A and C. Explanation. Parts of Hadrian's Wall include the forts of Housesteads and Vindolanda. Question 6. Which of the following monuments is located in Wiltshire? Hadrian's Wall, St. Paul's Cathedral, Nelson's Column, Stonehenge. The correct option is D. Explanation. Stonehenge stands in what is now the English county of Wiltshire. Question 7. Who mapped the coast of Australia? James Cook, Admiral Nelson, Isaac Newton, Saqi-ud-Din Muhammad. The correct option is A. Explanation. Captain James Cook mapped the coast of Australia and a few colonies were established there. Question 8. Which is the largest national park in England? Snowdonia, Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park, the Giant's Causeway, the Lake District. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Lake District is England's largest national park. Question 9. Where do beefeaters serve as tour guides? The Houses of the Parliament, the Tower of London, the O2, the Big Ben. The correct option is B. Explanation. Beefeaters serve as tour guides at the Tower of London. Question 10. Which of the following is a Crown dependency but not part of the UK? Shetland, Isle of Wight, Isle of Man, Anglesey. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Channel Islands and the Isle of Man are closely linked with the UK but are not part of it. They have their own governments and are called Crown dependencies. Question 11. Is St. Helena part of the UK? Yes. No. The correct option is B. Explanation. British overseas territories, such as St. Helena and the Falkland Islands, are linked to the UK, but are not part of it. Question 12. Where is Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park located? England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. The correct option is C. Explanation. Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park is located in the west of Scotland. Question 13. What is the capital city of Northern Ireland? Cork, Edinburgh, Belfast, Dublin. The correct option is C. Explanation. The capital city of Northern Ireland is Belfast. Question 14. Where is the Lake District National Park located? Scotland, Wales, England, Northern Ireland. The correct option is C. Explanation. Lake District is in England. Question 15. £100 is the highest value note in circulation in the UK. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. This statement is false. Question 16. Is Northern Ireland part of Great Britain? Yes. No. The correct option is B. Explanation. Great Britain refers only to England, Scotland and Wales, not to Northern Ireland. Question 17. How many national parks are there in England, Wales and Scotland? 25, 15, 18, 42. The correct option is B. Explanation. There are 15 national parks in England, Wales and Scotland. Question 18. Northern Ireland and Scotland have their own banknotes, which are valid everywhere in the UK. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 19. What UK landmark was voted as Britain's favourite view in 2007? The Big Ben, Lake District, Snowdonia, the London Eye. The correct option is B. Explanation. In 2007, television viewers voted Wastwater, Lake District, as Britain's favourite view. Question 20. The Falkland Islands are a British overseas territory and are part of the United Kingdom. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Falkland Islands are a British overseas territory. They are also linked to the UK but are not part of it. Question 21. What is the capital city of Scotland? Glasgow, St Andrews, Edinburgh, Aberdeen. The correct option is C. Explanation. The capital city of Scotland is Edinburgh. Question 22. Which two of the following are British overseas territories? St Helena, Solomon Islands, Mauritius, the Falkland Islands. The correct option is A and D. Explanation: there are several British overseas territories, such as St. Helena and the Falkland Islands. They are linked to the UK but are not part of it. Question 23. Which of the following is not a valid UK coin? 1p, 5p, 25p, £1. The correct option is C. Explanation: there are number 25p coins in the UK currency. Question 24. Where is Swansea located? England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales. The correct option is D. Explanation: Swansea, it is located in Wales. Question 25. Where was William Shakespeare born? Manchester, Oldham, Stratford-upon-Avon, Lincolnshire. The correct option is C. Explanation: Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. Question 26. Which three territories form Great Britain? Wales, Northern Ireland, England, Scotland. The correct option is A, C, and D. Explanation: Great Britain refers only to England, Scotland and Wales, not to Northern Ireland. Question 27. There are 15 national parks in England, Wales and Scotland. What are national parks? Giant greenhouses, land formations of columns made from volcanic lava, areas of protected countryside, medieval buildings. The correct option is C. Explanation: national parks are areas of protected countryside that everyone can visit, and where people live, work and look after the landscape. Question 28. Where is the Eden Project located? Dorset, Cornwall, Devon, Somerset. The correct option is B. Explanation: the Eden Project is located in Cornwall, in the southwest of England. Question 29. St. Helena and the Falkland Islands are part of Great Britain. True, false? The correct option is B. Explanation: there are also several British overseas territories in other parts of the world, such as St. Helena and the Falkland Islands. They are also linked to the UK but are not part of it. Question 30. Where is the official home of the Prime Minister? 18 Oxford Street, Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, 10 Downing Street. The correct option is D. Explanation: the official home of the Prime Minister is 10 Downing Street. Question 31. Great Britain refers only to England, Wales, and Scotland. True, false? The correct option is A. Explanation: this statement is true. Question 32. Scotland has its own banknotes, which are valid everywhere in the UK. True, false? The correct option is A. Explanation: this statement is true. Question 33. Cardiff is the capital city of which country? Scotland, Northern Ireland, Ireland, Wales. The correct option is D. Explanation: the capital city of Wales is Cardiff. Question 34. Lake District is the largest national park of England. True, false? The correct option is A. Explanation: this statement is true. Question 35. What is the name of the area in London where famous theatres are located? Soho, Theatreland, Westminster, Hyde Park. The correct option is B. Explanation. London's West End, also known as Theatreland, is particularly well known for its theatres. Question 36. Where is Snowdome located? Scotland, Wales, England, Northern Ireland. The correct option is B. Explanation. Snowdonia is in Wales. Question 37. Which two countries developed the Concorde, the world's only supersonic commercial airliner? Italy, Britain, Germany, France. The correct option is B and D. Explanation. Britain and France developed the world's only supersonic commercial airliner, Concorde. Question 38. Northern Ireland has its own banknotes, which are valid everywhere in the UK. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 39. Which of the following territories is a Crown dependency but is not part of the UK? Northern Ireland, Wales, the Channel Islands, Scotland. The correct option is C. Explanation. Channel Islands is a British overseas territory linked to the UK, but it is not part of it. Question 40. Where is the UK geographically located? Southwest of Europe, northeast of Europe, northwest of Europe, southeast of Europe. The correct option is C. Explanation. The UK is located in the northwest of Europe. Question 41. Where is Big Ben located? Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, Trafalgar Square, the Houses of the Parliament. The correct option is D. Explanation. Big Ben is the nickname for the Great Bell of the Clock at the Houses of Parliament in London. Question 42. Where did the first farmers come from? Southwest Europe, Southeast Europe, Northeast America, Northwest Asia. The correct option is B. Explanation. The first farmers arrived in Britain 6,000 years ago. The ancestors of these first farmers probably came from Southeast Europe. Question 43. St. Helena is a British overseas territory, and it is part of the United Kingdom. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. British overseas territories, such as St. Helena and the Falkland Islands, are linked to the UK, but are not part of it.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 2. British History and Monarchy. Question 1. Which historical monument did William the Conqueror build? St. Paul's Cathedral, the Cenotaph, Dumfries House, the White Tower. The correct option is D. Explanation. The White Tower in the Tower of London is an example of a Norman castle keep, built on the orders of William the Conqueror. Question 2. When did the Emancipation Act abolish slavery throughout the British Empire? 1835, 1823, 1807, 1833. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 1833, the Emancipation Act abolished slavery throughout the British Empire. Question 3. What is the name of Irish people who favoured complete independence from the UK in the 19th century? Fenians, Quakers, Highlanders, Suffragettes. The correct option is A. Explanation. The Irish nationalist movement had grown strongly through the 19th century. Some, such as The Fenians favored complete independence. Question 4. What was the religion of the Puritans? Hindu, Catholic, Sikh, Protestant. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Puritans were a group of Protestants who advocated strict and simple religious doctrine and worship. Question 5. When did the first farmers come to Britain? 10,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. The correct option is B. Explanation. The first farmers arrived in Britain 6,000 years ago. Question 6. Which two languages were used across England during the Middle Ages? Welsh, Gaelic, Norman French, Anglo-Saxon. The correct option is C and D. Explanation. The Middle Ages saw the development of a national culture and identity. After the Norman conquest, the king and his noblemen had spoken Norman French and the peasants had continued to speak Anglo-Saxon. Question 7. In 1776, which British colonies declared their independence because they demanded that there should be no taxation without representation? North African, Asian, North American, South African. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1776, 13 American colonies declared their independence, stating that people had a right to establish their own governments. Question 8. When was England ruled by a republic and not by a monarch? When Elizabeth I died without any successor. When Charles I was executed. When the Carta Magna restricted the king's power. When Kind Harold died after the Battle of Hastings. The correct option is B. Explanation. When Charles I was executed, England declared itself a republic, called the Commonwealth. It no longer had a monarch. Question 9. Under which name was the movement of opinion against the authority of the Pope during the times of Henry VIII known? The Spanish Inquisition, the Holy Wars, the Reformation, the Enlightenment. The correct option is C. Explanation. The correct answer is the Reformation. Question 10. Which of the following tells us about how people lived in England just after the Norman Conquest? The Domesday Book, the Book of Common Prayer, the Canterbury Tales, the Carta Magna. The correct option is A. Explanation. William sent people all over England to draw up lists of all the towns and villages. The people who lived there, who owned the land and what animals they owned were also listed. This was called the Domesday Book. It still exists today and gives a picture of society in England just after the Norman Conquest. Question 11. James I was king of which country before becoming king of England? Wales, Ireland, France, Scotland. The correct option is D. Explanation. When Elizabeth I died, her cousin James VI of Scotland became King James I of England. Wales and Ireland and Scotland remained a separate country. Question 12. Who was William Caxton? A poet who wrote about a group of people going to Canterbury on a pilgrimage. The first person in England to print books using a printing press. The first person to sail single-handed around the world. The inventor of the television. The correct option is B. Explanation. William Caxton was the first person in England to print books using a printing press. Question 13. How did Charles II manage to escape to Europe after his defeat in the Civil War? Hiding in a farmer's house. Riding a horse. Hiding in an oak tree. Swimming. The correct option is C. Explanation. Charles II escaped from Worcester, famously hiding in an oak tree on one occasion, and eventually fled to Europe. Question 14. During the rebellion of the clans in Scotland, Bonnie Prince Charlie was supported by clansmen from which Scottish region? Glasgow, Galloway, Highlands, Edinburgh. The correct option is C. Explanation. Charles Edward Stuart, Bonnie Prince Charlie, was supported by clansmen from the Scottish Highlands. Question 15. When was the Domesday Book written? After the Viking invasion? After the Norman conquest? After the last Roman invasion? After the Anglo-Saxon invasion? The correct option is B. Explanation. William the Conqueror sent people all over England to draw up lists of all the towns and villages, the people who lived there, who owned the land and what animals they owned, were also listed. This was called the Domesday Book, which gives a picture of society in England just after the Norman conquest. Question 16. What is the name of the war memorial located in Whitehall? Dumfries, Cenotaph, Royal Crescent, the White Tower. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Cenotaph is a war memorial located in Whitehall. Question 17. Which two languages combine to become one English language? Latin, Anglo-Saxon, Proto-Celtic, Norman French. The correct option is B and D. Explanation. After the Norman conquest, the king and his noblemen had spoken Norman French and the peasants had continued to speak Anglo-Saxon. Gradually these two languages combined to become one English language. Question 18. Which Scottish king defeated the English at the Battle of Bannockburn? King Charles I, King James I, Admiral Nelson, Robert the Bruce. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 1314 the Scottish, led by Robert the Bruce, defeated the English at the Battle of Bannockburn, and Scotland remained unconquered by the English. Question 19. Between 1680 and 1720 many refugees called Huguenots came to England. Which country did they come from? Pakistan, Germany, India, France. The correct option is D. Explanation. Between 1680 and 1720 many refugees called Huguenots came from France. Question 20. What was inscribed in the first coins to be minted in Britain during the Iron Age? The names of Iron Age kings. The names of Iron Age gods. The names of trees. The names of animals. The correct option is A. Explanation. The people of the Iron Age made the first coins to be minted in Britain, some inscribed with the names of Iron Age kings. Question 21. When were the first coins in Britain made? The Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Middle Ages. The correct option is C. Explanation. The people of the Iron Age made the first coins to be minted in Britain. Question 22. Charles I believed in the divine right of kings, so he tried to rule without the Parliament, to rule with the approval of the Parliament, to raise money for the Parliament, to restore Catholicism in Britain. The correct option is A. Explanation. Charles I believed in the divine right of kings, the idea that the king was directly appointed by God to rule. He thought that the king should be able to act without having to seek approval from Parliament, and he tried to rule without the Parliament at all. Question 23. Wales has its own established church. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. There is no established church in Wales or Northern Ireland. Question 24. What English king introduced the Domesday Book? King Henry V, King Henry IV, William the Conqueror, Harold, the Saxon King of England. The correct option is C. Explanation. William the Conqueror sent people all over England to draw up lists of all the towns and villages, the people who lived there, who owned the land and what animals they owned, were also listed. This was called the Domesday Book. Question 25. Who built a wall in the north of England to keep out the Picts, ancestors of the Scottish people? Boudicca, Emperor Hadrian, Emperor Claudius, Julius Caesar. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Emperor Hadrian built a wall in the north of England to keep out the Picts, ancestors of the Scottish people. Question 26. What movement challenged the authority of the Pope? The Swinging Sixties, the Reformation, the Suffragettes, the Enlightenment. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Reformation was a movement against the authority of the Pope and the ideas and practices of the Roman Catholic Church. Question 27. What did the Habeas Corpus Act introduce? That every prisoner has a right to a court hearing, a salary for members of Parliament, MPs, financial help for the unemployed, old age pensions and free school meals, measures to improve the conditions of workers. The correct option is A. Explanation. The Habeas Corpus Act became law in 1679. This was a very important piece of legislation, which remains relevant today. Habeas corpus is Latin for you must present the person in court. The act guaranteed that no one could be held prisoner unlawfully. Every prisoner has a right to a court hearing. Question 28. How did the government promote policies of free trade during the Victorian age? Abolishing several taxes on imported goods, abolishing the exportation of local produce, preventing the importation of cheap raw materials, preventing the importation of cheap grain. The correct option is A. Explanation. During Victorian times, the government began to promote policies of free trade, abolishing several taxes on imported goods. One example of this was the repealing of the Corn Laws in 1846. These had prevented the import of cheap grain. The reforms helped the development of the British industry because raw materials could now be imported cheaply. Question 29. During the Middle Ages, who were the serfs? Peasants who had a small area of their lord's agricultural land. Soldiers who fought at the Battle of Trafalgar. Noblemen who formed part of the King's Council of Advisers. A group of skilled people from Holland who came to England during the Middle Ages. The correct option is A. Explanation. Serfs were peasants who had a small area of their lord's land where they could grow food. Question 30. Which invention led to the rapid development of the industry in Britain during the 18th and 19th centuries? The radar, the steam power, the jet engine, the Turing machine. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Industrial Revolution was the rapid development of industry in Britain in the 18th and 19th centuries. Britain was the first country to industrialize on a large scale. It happened because of the development of machinery and the use of steam power. Question 31. What happened to Mary, Queen of Scots, after she spent 20 years in prison? She became Queen of England. She was sent to France. She escaped to Denmark. She was executed. The correct option is D. Explanation. Mary was eventually executed, accused of plotting against Elizabeth I. Question 32. Who were the first people to live in Britain in what we call the Stone Age? Farmers, peasants, hunter-gatherers, pirates. The correct option is C. Explanation. The first people to live in Britain were hunter-gatherers. Question 33. What is the name of the movement against the authority of the Pope and the ideas of the Catholic Church that took place during the reign of Henry VIII? The Reformation, the Enlightenment, the Glorious Revolution, the Renaissance. The correct option is A. Explanation. The correct answer is the Reformation. Question 34. What is the name of the process by which many Scottish landlords destroyed individual small farms, known as crofts, to make space for large flocks of sheep and cattle? The Black Death, the Corn Removal, the Highland Clearances, the Enlightenment. The correct option is C. Explanation. A process began which became known as the Highland Clearances. Many Scottish landlords destroyed individual small farms, known as crofts, to make space for large flocks of sheep and cattle. Question 35. In 1833, the Emancipation Act abolished slavery throughout the British Empire. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 36. Which Scottish clan was killed for not taking the oath? The MacLean of Lochbuie, the MacDowells of Garthland, the Macpherson of Cluny, the MacDonald of Glencoe. The correct option is D. Explanation. The MacDonalds of Glencoe. Question 37. What was the biggest source of employment during the 18th century? Fishing, teaching, aircraft industry, manufacturing. The correct option is D. Explanation. During the 18th century, manufacturing jobs became the main source of employment in Britain. Question 38. In 1314, the Scottish, led by Robert the Bruce, defeated the English at the Battle of Bannockburn, and Scotland remained unconquered by the English. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 39. The Bill of Rights in 1689 gave women the right to vote. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. The Bill of Rights, 1689, confirmed the rights of Parliament and the limits of the King's power. Question 40. What was achieved with the Carta Magna? It restricted the King's power. It increased the King's power. It restricted the rights of the farmers. It increased women's power. The correct option is A. Explanation. The Magna Carta established the idea that even the king was subject to the law. It protected the rights of the nobility and restricted the king's power to collect taxes or to make and change laws. In future, the king would need to involve his noblemen in decisions. Question 41. During which period did the Beatles become popular and social laws were liberalized? 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1950s. The correct option is A. Explanation. The decade of the 1960s was a period of significant social change. It was known as the swinging 60s. There was growth in British fashion, cinema, and popular music. Two well-known pop music groups at the time were the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. It was also a time when social laws were liberalized, for example in relation to divorce and to abortion in England, Wales, and Scotland. The position of women in the workplace also improved. Question 42. Who did the English defeat in 1588? The Normans, the Romans, the Spanish Armada, the Saxons. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1588 the English defeated the Spanish Armada, a large fleet of ships. Question 43. Who established the Church of England? Henry VIII, Oliver Cromwell, Winston Churchill, William of Orange. The correct option is A. Explanation. The correct answer is Henry VIII. Question 44. Who was reigning in England when English settlers first began to colonize the eastern coast of America? Queen Victoria, Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, Charles II. The correct option is C. Explanation. In Elizabeth I's time, English settlers first began to colonize the eastern coast of America. Question 45. Which king was executed in 1649? James I, Charles II, James VII, Charles I. The correct option is D. Explanation. The correct answer is Charles I. Question 46. Northern Ireland has its own established church. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. There is no established church in Wales or Northern Ireland. Question 47. Who made the first coins to be minted in Britain? The people of the Stone Age, the Anglo-Saxons, the people of the Iron Age, the Romans. The correct option is C. Explanation. The people of the Iron Age made the first coins to be minted in Britain, some inscribed with the names of Iron Age kings. This marks the beginnings of British history. Question 48. William of Orange was asked by Protestants to invade England and proclaim himself king. But, when William reached England, there was no resistance, and he took over the throne. This event was later known as the Glorious Revolution, the Restoration, the Great Depression, the Blitz. The correct option is A. Explanation. William of Orange was asked by Protestants to invade England and proclaim himself king. When William reached England, there was no resistance, and he took over the throne. This event was later called the Glorious Revolution. Question 49. Who is the patron saint of Northern Ireland? Saint George, Saint Patrick, Saint Andrew, Saint David. The correct option is B. Explanation. The patron saint of Northern Ireland is Saint Patrick. Question 50. What is the name of the period when new ideas about politics, philosophy and science were developed? The Enlightenment, the Glorious Revolution, the Swinging Sixties, the Reformation. The correct option is A. Explanation. During the 18th century, new ideas about politics, philosophy and science were developed. This is often called the Enlightenment. Question 51. What king was defeated by Oliver Cromwell during the Civil War and hid in an oak tree before escaping to Europe? Richard III, Charles II, James I, Henry IV. The correct option is B. Explanation. The correct answer is Charles II. Question 52. Who was the father of Queen Elizabeth I? Edward I, Henry V, Henry VII, Henry VIII. The correct option is D. Explanation. The father of Queen Elizabeth I was Henry VIII. Question 53. What sort of church is the Church of Scotland? Catholic, Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist. The correct option is C. Explanation. In Scotland, the national church is the Church of Scotland, which is a Presbyterian church. Question 54. Which court deals with minor criminal offences in Scotland? The Sheriff Court, the Magistrates Court, the Crown Court, the Justice of the Peace Court. The correct option is D. Explanation. In Scotland, minor criminal offences go to a Justice of the Peace Court. Question 55. Which two of the following records give us information about England during the reign of William I? The Magna Carta, the Domesday Book, the Bayeux Tapestry, the Canterbury Tales. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. The Domesday Book and the Bayeux Tapestry. Question 56. In 1913, the British government promised Home Rule for Ireland. Why were changes in Ireland delayed until 1921? Due to the outbreak of the First World War. Due to the outbreak of the Second World War. Because there was not a king on the British throne. Due to the outbreak of the Black Death. The correct option is A. Explanation. The outbreak of the First World War led the British government to postpone any changes in Ireland. Question 57. Why did Henry VIII establish the Church of England? To celebrate his wedding with Anne of Cleves. To have control over religious people. To establish a unique religion in England. To divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The correct option is D. Explanation. To divorce his first wife, Henry needed the approval of the Pope. When the Pope refused, Henry established the Church of England. Question 58. Wales has its own established church. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. There is no established church in Wales or Northern Ireland. Question 59. Who was the tribal leader who fought against the Romans? Cleopatra, Claudia, Boudicca, Saint Augustine. The correct option is C. Explanation. One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudicca, the queen of the Iceni in what is now eastern England. Question 60. Which Jubilee did Queen Elizabeth II celebrate in 2012? Golden Jubilee, Silver Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Queen has reigned since her father's death in 1952, and in 2012 she celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, 60 years as Queen. Question 61. When did the Black Death take place? The Golden Age, the Stone Age, the Middle Ages, the Iron Age. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1348, Middle Ages, the Black Death came to Britain. Question 62. Who is the patron saint of Wales? Saint David, Saint George, Saint Patrick, Saint Andrew. The correct option is A. Explanation. The patron saint of Wales is Saint David. Question 63. Where was Anne Boleyn, the wife of Henry VIII, executed? Houses of the Parliament. Stonehenge. Tower of London. Whitehall. The correct option is C. Explanation. Anne Boleyn was unpopular in the country and was accused of taking lovers. She was executed at the Tower of London. Question 64. Which sport can be traced back to the 15th century in Scotland? Golf, tennis, football, rugby. The correct option is A. Explanation. The modern game of golf can be traced back to 15th century Scotland. Question 65. Where are the crown jewels kept? At the House of Commons. At the Tower of London. At Buckingham Palace. At Windsor Castle. The correct option is B. Explanation. The crown jewels are kept at the Tower of London. Question 66. Which was the last successful foreign invasion of England that took place in 1066? The Viking invasion, the Anglo-Saxon conquest, the Roman invasion, the Norman conquest. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Norman conquest was the last successful foreign invasion of England in 1066. Question 67. When was the Magna Carta created? 1514, 1215, 1415, 1314. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Magna Carta was created in 1215. Question 68. When did Ireland become a republic? 1925, 1939, 1949, 1927. The correct option is C. Explanation. Ireland became a republic in 1949.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 3. Government and Politics. Question 1. Who became Prime Minister after Margaret Thatcher and played an important part in the Northern Ireland peace process? James Callaghan, John Major, Tony Blair, Harold Wilson. The correct option is B. Explanation. John Major was Prime Minister after Mrs. Thatcher, and helped establish the Northern Ireland peace process. Question 2. What is the maximum amount you can claim through the small claims procedure? In Scotland and Northern Ireland? £3,000, £5,000, £8,000, £10,000. The correct option is A. Explanation. The small claims procedure is an informal way of helping people to settle without spending a lot of time and money using a lawyer. This procedure is used for claims of less than £10,000 in England and Wales and £3,000 in Scotland and Northern Ireland. Question 3. Who was the leader of the Labour Party who introduced a Scottish Parliament and a Welsh Assembly? James Callaghan, Clement Attlee, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 1997, the Labour Party led by Tony Blair was elected. The Blair government introduced a Scottish Parliament and a Welsh Assembly. Question 4. Who can hear cases in youth courts in England, Wales and Northern Ireland? 2 answers. Specially trained magistrates, social workers, district judges, members of the public. The correct option is A and C. Explanation. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, if an accused person is aged 10 to 17, the case is normally heard in a youth court in front of up to 3 specially trained magistrates or a district judge. The most serious cases will go the Crown Court. The parents or carers of the young person are expected to attend the hearing. Members of the public are not allowed in youth courts, and the name or photographs of the accused young person cannot be published in newspapers or used by the media. Question 5. What is the Queen's speech about during the opening of the UK Parliament? What the royal family did the previous year. What the government did the previous year. What business matters the royal family will conduct in the year ahead. What the government policies will be in the year ahead. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Queen has important ceremonial roles, such as the opening of the new parliamentary session each year. On this occasion, the Queen makes a speech which summarizes the government's policies for the year ahead. All acts of Parliament are made in her name. Question 6. Who is responsible for crime, policing and immigration? The Chancellor of the Exchequer. The Foreign Secretary. The Speaker. The Home Secretary. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Question 7. The members of the House of Lords, known as peers, are elected by the people. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. The members of the House of Lords, known as peers, are not elected by the people. Question 8. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, youth court cases are normally heard by. Choose 2 answers. Up to 3 specially trained magistrates. A district judge. A sheriff. Up to 5 specially trained magistrates. The correct option is A and B. Explanation. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, if an accused person is aged 10 to 17, the case is normally heard in a youth court in front of up to 3 specially trained magistrates or a district judge. Question 9. What is the Commonwealth? An organization responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights in its member countries. A group of European and North American countries that have agreed to help each other if they come under attack. An association of countries that support each other and work together towards shared goals in democracy and development. An international organization that aims to prevent war and promote international peace and security. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Commonwealth is an association of countries that support each other and work together towards shared goals in democracy and development. Most member states were once part of the British Empire, although a few countries which were not have also joined. Question 10. Who was elected as British Prime Minister in 1945? Clement Attlee. Winston Churchill. Harold Wilson. Harold Macmillan. The correct option is A. Explanation. In 1945, the British people elected a Labour government. The new Prime Minister was Clement Attlee. Question 11. The system of government in the UK is a parliamentary democracy. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 12. Who appoints life peers in the House of Lords? The Speaker. The Archbishop of Canterbury. The Prime Minister. The Monarch. The correct option is D. Explanation. Life peers are appointed by the monarch on the advice of the Prime Minister. Question 13. Proceedings in Parliament are broadcast on television and published in official reports known as canvassing, Hansard, cabinets, Doomsday Book. The correct option is B. Explanation. Proceedings in Parliament are broadcast on television and published in official reports called Hansard. Question 14. How are the members of the Northern Ireland Parliament elected? By a system of proportional representation. Using a system of ranked voting. Using the first-past-the-post system. Using a runoff system. The correct option is A. Explanation. The Northern Ireland Assembly has 108 elected members, known as MLAs, members of the Legislative Assembly. They are elected with a form of proportional representation. Question 15. Which of the following statements is correct? Most shops in the UK open 7 days a week. All shops in the UK close on Sundays and bank holidays. The correct option is A. Explanation. Most shops in the UK are open 7 days a week, although trading hours on Sundays and public holidays are generally reduced. Question 16. Are civil servants appointed by the government? Yes. No. The correct option is B. Explanation. Civil servants are accountable to ministers. They are chosen on merit and are politically neutral. They are not political appointees. Question 17. In the UK, you have to be 21 years old to be able to vote in a general election. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. The present voting age of 18 was set in 1969 and, with a few exceptions, all UK-born and naturalized adult citizens have the right to vote. Question 18. Who is responsible for the opening of the new parliamentary session each year? The Prime Minister, the Speaker, the Queen, the Home Secretary. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Queen has important ceremonial roles, such as the opening of the new parliamentary session each year. Question 19. The UK government has never suspended the Northern Ireland Assembly. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. The Northern Ireland Assembly has been suspended on a few occasions. Question 20. By law, radio and television coverage of the political parties must be balanced, and so equal time has to be given to rival viewpoints. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 21. You have to be at least 21 years old to serve on a jury. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. Anyone who is on the electoral register and is aged 18 to 70 can serve on a jury. Question 22. How are civil servants appointed and what political party do they belong to? They are chosen on merit and form part of the Liberal Democrats Party. They are chosen randomly and form part of the Conservative Party. They are chosen randomly and are politically neutral. They are chosen on merit and are politically neutral. The correct option is D. Explanation. Civil servants are chosen on merit and are politically neutral and they are not political appointees. Question 23. MPs can only be contacted at their office in the House of Commons. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. You can contact MPs by letter or telephone at their constituency office, or at their office in the House of Commons. In addition, many MPs, Assembly members, MSPs and MEPs hold regular local surgeries, where constituents can go in person to talk about issues that are of concern to them. Question 24. Towns, cities and rural areas in the UK are governed by government-appointed officials. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. Towns, cities and rural areas in the UK are governed by democratically elected councils, often called local authorities. Question 25. How many members does the Northern Ireland Assembly have? 12, 60, 90, 108. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Northern Ireland Assembly has 90 elected members, known as MLAs, members of the Legislative Assembly. Question 26. Is the BBC controlled by the government? Yes. No. The correct option is B. Explanation. The BBC is the largest broadcaster in the world. It is the only wholly state-funded media organization that is independent of government. Question 27. What was Margaret Thatcher famous for? She fought for the right to vote for women. She was the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. She set up the Women's Franchise League. She was the founder of modern nursing. The correct option is B. Explanation. Margaret Thatcher was the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. Question 28. The Northern Ireland Assembly cannot make decisions on which two of the following issues? Immigration, education, agriculture, defense. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. The Northern Ireland Assembly can make decisions on issues such as education, agriculture, the environment, health and social services, but it cannot make decisions on immigration or defense issues. Question 29. When did the UK join the EU? In 1957, in 1973, in 1975, in 1964. The correct option is B. Explanation. The UK originally decided not to join this group, but it became a member in 1973. Question 30. How many members does the Welsh Government have? 150, 120, 90, 60. The correct option is D. Explanation. There are 60 members of the Welsh Government or members of the Senedd, MSs, and elections are held every 4 years using a form of proportional representation. Question 31. What is the small claims procedure? An informal way of helping people to settle minor disputes without spending a lot of time and money using a lawyer. A procedure that helps people to make small home insurance claims in certain circumstances. The correct option is A. Explanation. The small claims procedure is an informal way of helping people to settle minor disputes without spending a lot of time and money using a lawyer. Question 32. What did the Butler Act introduce in 1944? Free primary education in England, Wales and Scotland. Free university fees in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Free primary and secondary education in England, Wales and Scotland. Free secondary education in England and Wales. The correct option is D. Explanation. Richard Austin Butler became a Conservative MP in 1923 and held several positions before becoming responsible for education in 1941. In this role, he oversaw the introduction of the Education Act 1944, often called the Butler Act, which introduced free secondary education in England and Wales. Question 33. Northern Ireland uses a system called individual registration, and all those entitled to vote must complete their own registration form. True. False. The correct option is A. Question 34. Does Britain have a written constitution? Yes. No. The correct option is B. Explanation. The British Constitution is not written down in any single document, and therefore it is described as unwritten. Question 35. MPs can only be contacted by post. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. You can contact MPs by letter or telephone at their constituency office, or at their office in the House of Commons. In addition, many MPs, Assembly members, MSPs and MEPs hold regular local esurgery, where constituents can go in person to talk about issues that are of concern to them. Question 36. Which two of the following policies are not controlled by the devolved administrations? Health, education, defense, immigration. The correct option is C and D. Explanation. Policy and laws governing defense, foreign affairs, immigration, taxation and social security all remain under central UK government control. However, many other public services, such as education, are controlled by the devolved administrations. Question 37. How old do citizens of the UK, the Irish Republic or the Commonwealth have to be to stand for public office? 18, 21, 16, 25. The correct option is A. Explanation. Most citizens of the UK, the Irish Republic or the Commonwealth aged 18 or over can stand for public office. There are some exceptions, including members of the armed forces, civil servants and people found guilty of certain criminal offences. Question 38. Which of the following is a responsibility of the Home Secretary? Economy, crime, education, defense. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Question 39. When was the last successful foreign invasion of England? 1415, 1314, 1066, 1200. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Norman Conquest was the last successful foreign invasion of England in 1066. Question 40. How many members form a jury in Scotland? 12, 14, 15, 20. The correct option is C. Explanation. In Scotland, a jury has 15 members. Question 41. What do you need to do to apply for a national insurance number? Contact the NHS. Contact the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP. Contact your local MP. Ask your employer to get it for you. The correct option is B. Explanation. If you have permission to work in the UK, you will need to telephone the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, to arrange to get a national insurance number. Question 42. Which two issues can the devolved administrations pass laws on? Defense, social security, health, education. The correct option is C and D. Explanation. Policy and laws governing defense, foreign affairs, immigration, taxation and social security all remain under central UK government control. However, many other public services, such as health and education, are controlled by the devolved administrations. Question 43. What sort of election takes place when a member of the Parliament, MP, dies or resigns? Coalition, pre-selection, random selection, by-election. The correct option is D. Explanation. If an MP dies or resigns, there will be a fresh election, called a by-election, in his or her constituency. Question 44. How often are the members of the Welsh Government elected? Every 5 years. Every 2 years. Every 4 years. Every 3 years. The correct option is C. Explanation. There are 60 members of the Welsh Government or members of the Senate, MSs, and elections are held every 4 years using a form of proportional representation. Question 45. Which two documents do you need to apply for a national insurance number? A document with your address on it, such as a tenancy agreement. Documents that prove that you have permission to work in the UK. A contract from your employer. Documents that prove your identity. The correct option is B and D. Explanation. To apply for a national insurance number, you need documents that prove your identity and that you have permission to work in the UK. Question 46. Which two political parties formed a coalition in 2010? The Conservative Party, the Green Party, the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats Party. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. In May 2010, the Conservative and Liberal Democrat parties formed a coalition and the leader of the Conservative Party, David Cameron, became Prime Minister. Question 47. Scotland and Wales use a system called individual registration, where all those entitled to vote must complete their own registration form. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. Northern Ireland uses a system called individual registration, and all those entitled to vote must complete their own registration form. Question 48. How often are Prime Minister's questions held in the Parliament? Every day, every week, every 2 weeks, once a month. The correct option is B. Explanation. Prime Minister's questions takes place every week while Parliament is sitting. Question 49. As a British citizen, what are your responsibilities? Choose 2 answers. To respect and obey the law. To walk your dog only during the day. To go to church on Sunday. To look after yourself and your family. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. If you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of the UK, you should respect and obey the law, look after yourself and your family, respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions, treat others with fairness and look after the area in which you live and the environment. Question 50. Which of the following actions is known as canvassing? Donating blood to help people. Volunteering for an environmental charity. Caring for animals at a local rescue shelter. Persuading people to vote for a political party. The correct option is D. Explanation. Members of political parties persuade people to vote for their candidates, for instance, by handing out leaflets in the street or by knocking on people's doors and asking for their support. This is called canvassing. Question 51. What sort of charity is Friends of the Earth? An environmental charity. A medical research charity. A charity working with pets. A charity working with older people. The correct option is A. Explanation. Friends of the Earth is an environmental charity. Question 52. Which of the following statements is true? Mary Stuart, Mary, Queen of Scots, was a Protestant. Mary Stuart, Mary, Queen of Scots, was a Catholic. The correct option is B. Explanation. Mary Stuart, Mary, Queen of Scots, was a Catholic. Question 53. Which of the following statements is true? Elizabeth I was a Protestant and she succeeded in finding a balance between the views of the Catholics and the more extreme Protestants. Elizabeth I was a Catholic and she succeeded in finding a balance between the views of the Catholics and the more extreme Protestants. The correct option is A. Explanation. Elizabeth I was a Protestant and she succeeded in finding a balance between the views of the Catholics and the more extreme Protestants. Question 54. Where should you register if you want to become part of a jury? The Electoral Register. Your local church. The NHS. The British Embassy. The correct option is A. Explanation. People on the electoral register are randomly selected to serve on a jury. Therefore, if you want to be selected to form part of a jury, you have to be on the electoral register and be between 18 to 70 years old. Question 55. By law, which two types of media have to give a balanced coverage of all political parties and equal time to rival viewpoints before an election? Television, internet, newspapers, radio. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. By law, radio and television coverage of the political parties must be balanced and so equal. Time has to be given to rival viewpoints. Question 56. Which two houses form the UK Parliament? The House of Lords, House of Members, House of Commons, House of Fraser. The correct option is A and C. Explanation. The UK Parliament is formed of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Question 57. How often are general elections held in the UK? Every 3 years. Every 4 years. Every 5 years. Every 10 years. The correct option is C. Explanation. MPs are elected at a general election, which is held at least every 5 years. Question 58. Which two of the following are key roles of school governors? Monitoring students' behavior, monitoring and evaluating school performance, setting the strategic direction of the school, giving awards to the best students at the school. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. Governors and school boards have an important part to play in raising school standards. They have 3 key roles: setting the strategic direction of the school, ensuring accountability and monitoring and evaluating school performance. Question 59. It is compulsory for 16 and 17-year-olds to join the National Citizen Service programmed. True, false? The correct option is B. Explanation. False. The National Citizen Service programmed, which gives 16 and 17-year-olds the opportunity to enjoy outdoor activities, develop their skills and take part in a community project. Therefore, it is optional. Question 60. You have to be at least 21 years old to stand as MP. True, false? The correct option is B. Question 61. How many members does a jury have in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland? 9, 12, 15, 20. The correct option is B. Explanation. In England, Wales, and Northern Ireland a jury has 12 members. Question 62. Which of the following statements is correct? Solicitors' charges are usually based on how much time they spend on a case. Solicitors' charges are usually based on the nature of a case and its importance. The correct option is A. Explanation. Solicitors' charges are usually based on how much time they spend of a case. Question 63. By law, which two types of media have to give a balanced coverage of all political parties and equal time to rival viewpoints before an election? Television, internet, newspapers, radio. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. By law, radio and television coverage of the political parties must be balanced and so equal. Time has to be given to rival viewpoints. Question 64. What will you be given to vote before a general election takes place? A poll tax relief, A number to queue at the polling station. A poll cards. A specific time for you to vote. The correct option is C. Explanation. Before the election you will be sent a poll card. Question 65. How is a jury selected? From the NHS registration system. Randomly from the electoral register. Alphabetically from the telephone directory. From a postcode selection. The correct option is B. Explanation. As well as getting the right to vote, people on the electoral register are randomly selected to serve on a jury. Anyone who is on the electoral register and is aged 18 to 70 can be asked to do this. Question 66. What is the minimum age required to serve on a jury? 16, 18, 21, 25. The correct option is B. Explanation. Anyone who is on the electoral register and is aged 18 to 70 can be asked to serve on a jury. Question 67. Who chairs the debates at the House of Commons? A bishop. The Prime Minister. The Speaker. The Archbishop of Canterbury. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Speaker chairs debates in the House of Commons. Question 68. The Bill of Rights of 1689 confirmed the right to vote for all adult men. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Bill of Rights, 1689, confirmed the rights of Parliament and the limits of the King's power. Question 69. When were men and women given the right to vote at the age of 21? 1918, 1903, 1928, 1923. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1928, women were given the right to vote at the age of 21, the same as men. Question 70. What are 2 responsibilities that you will have as a British citizen or permanent resident of the UK? To look after the area in which you live and the environment. To look after yourself and your family. To stay in the UK forever. To promote work in your local community. The correct option is A and B. Explanation. If you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of the UK, you should look after yourself and your family, look after the area in which you live and the environment, respect and obey the law, respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions, and treat others with fairness. Question 71. Several Church of England bishops sit in the House of Lords. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 72. What is the Home Secretary responsible for? Health, defense, education, policing. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Question 73. Which court deals with minor criminal cases in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland? High Court, Justice of the Peace Court, Magistrates' Court, Crown Court. The correct option is C. Explanation. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, most minor criminal cases are dealt with in a Magistrates' Court. In Scotland, minor criminal offences go to a Justice of the Peace Court.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Culture, traditions and sports. Question 1. Nick Park has won 4 Oscars for his animated films, including 3 for films featuring Chariots of Fire, Wallace and Gromit, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Women in Love. The correct option is B. Explanation. Nick Park, who has won 4 Oscars for his animated films, including 3 for films featuring Wallace and Gromit. Question 2. What is one of the highest-grossing film franchises produced in the UK? James Bond, Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, Superman. The correct option is A. Explanation. Some of the most commercially successful films of all time, including the 2 highest-grossing film franchises, Harry Potter and James Bond, have been produced in the UK. Question 3. What kind of genre was the film Wallace and Gromit created by Nick Park? A soap opera, a silent movie, an animated film, an action film. The correct option is C. Explanation. Nick Park won 4 Oscars for his animated films, including 3 for films featuring Wallace and Gromit. Question 4. Which 2 British pop music groups were famous during the swinging 60s? The Rolling Stones, The Beatles, ABBA, Radiohead. The correct option is A and B. Explanation. The decade of the 1960s was a period of significant social change. It was known as the swinging 60s. There was growth in British fashion, cinema and popular music. 2 well-known pop music groups at the time were the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Question 5. What medal did Mary Peters win in the 1972 Olympics? She did not win any medals. Silver, gold, bronze. The correct option is C. Explanation. Born in Manchester, Mary Peters moved to Northern Ireland as a child. She was a talented athlete who won an Olympic gold medal in the pentathlon in 1972. Question 6. Which film produced in the UK was one of the most commercially successful films of all time and one of the highest-grossing film franchises? Harry Potter, Spider-Man, The Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones. The correct option is A. Explanation. Some of the most commercially successful films of all time, including the 2 highest-grossing film franchises, Harry Potter and James Bond, have been produced in the UK. Question 7. Which Paralympic athlete has won gold medals for swimming at the 2008, 2012, and 2016 Paralympic Games? Sophie Christensen, Ellie Simmons, Baroness Tanni Grey-Thompson, David Weir. The correct option is B. Explanation. Ellie Simmons is a Paralympian who won gold medals for swimming at the 2008, 2012 and 2016 Paralympic Games and holds a number of world records. She was the youngest member of the British team at the 2008 Games. Question 8. What song is sung by people in the UK and other countries when they are celebrating the new year? Auld Lang Syne, the British anthem, Jingle Bells, White Christmas. The correct option is A. Explanation. The song Auld Lang Syne, which is sung by people in the UK and other countries when they are celebrating the new year, or Hogmanay as it is called in Scotland. Question 9. What is the traditional food of Northern Ireland? Haggis, pancakes, paella, Ulster fry. The correct option is D. Explanation. Ulster fry is the correct answer. Question 10. Which of the following is a rugby competition? The Scottish Grand National, the Wimbledon Championships, the Ashes, the Six Nations Championship. The correct option is D. Explanation. The most famous rugby union competition is the Six Nations Championship between England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France and Italy. Question 11. When is Hogmanay celebrated? 25th of December, 2nd of January, 1st of January, 31st of December. The correct option is D. Explanation. In Scotland, the 31st of December is called Hogmanay. Question 12. When is St. Patrick's Day celebrated? The 23rd of April, the 30th of November, the 1st of April, the 17th of March. The correct option is D. Explanation. St. Patrick's Day, patron of Northern Ireland, is celebrated on the 17th of March. Question 13. Where is the National Horse Racing Museum located? Edinburgh, Scotland. Newmarket, Suffolk. St Andrews, Scotland. Aintree near Liverpool. The correct option is B. Explanation. There is a National Horse Racing Museum in Newmarket, Suffolk. Question 14. How are public holidays called? Bank holidays, workers' holidays, business holidays, summer holidays. The correct option is A. Explanation. There are public holidays each year called bank holidays, when banks and many other businesses are closed for the day. Question 15. When is St. George Day? The 17th of March, the 30th of November, the 1st of March, the 23rd of April. The correct option is D. Explanation. St. George Day, patron of England, is celebrated on the 23rd of April. Question 16. How many times has the UK hosted the Olympic Games? 5, 3, 4, 8. The correct option is B. Explanation. The UK has hosted the Olympic Games on 3 occasions, 1908, 1948 and 2012. Question 17. Who became famous for his tramp character in silent movies? Sir Rex Harrison, David Niven, Richard Burton, Charlie Chaplin. The correct option is D. Explanation. Charlie Chaplin became famous in silent movies for his tramp character. Question 18. What religion did Elizabeth I follow? She was a Protestant. She was a Catholic. The correct option is A. Explanation. Elizabeth I was a Protestant. Question 19. What is the day when jokes are published in newspapers and telecasted on TV? April Fool's Day, Boxing Day, Halloween, Valentine's Day. The correct option is A. Explanation. April Fool's Day, The 1st of April is a day when people play jokes on each other until midday. The television and newspapers often have stories that are April Fool jokes. Question 20. What is the most famous tennis tournament played in the UK? The Queen's Club Championships, Wimbledon, Roland Garros, the Aegon Championships. The correct option is B. Explanation. The most famous tournament hosted in Britain is the Wimbledon Championships, which takes place each year at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. Question 21. What is the period of the 1960s known for? A downgrade in manufacturing, a growth in British fashion and pop music, a shortage of water, a blockage of social laws. The correct option is B. Explanation. The period of the 1960s known for a growth in British fashion and pop music. Question 22. The version of the Bible created by King James I is known as Authorized Version, Reformed Version, Approved Version, Unique Version. The correct option is A. Explanation. One achievement of King James' reign was a new translation of the Bible into English. This translation is known as the King James Version or the Authorized Version. Question 23. When is St. Andrew's Day celebrated? The 17th of April, the 31st of December, the 1st of March, the 30th of November. The correct option is D. Explanation. St. Andrew's Day, patron of Scotland, is celebrated on the 30th of November. Question 24. What other name is given to Diwali? The Festival of Lights, Ash Wednesday, Good Friday, Easter Monday. The correct option is A. Explanation. Diwali is often called the Festival of Lights. Question 25. Where is Theatreland? Docklands, London's East End, London's West End, London's South End. The correct option is C. Explanation. Theatreland is at the London's West End. Question 26. What is the Union Jack? The flag of the Commonwealth, the flag of the United Kingdom, the shield used by British knights, a trade union to protect workers' rights. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Union flag is also known as the Union Jack. Question 27. Which of the following major sports event took place in the UK in 2012? The Football World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, the Olympic Games, the Euro Cup basketball. The correct option is C. Explanation. The UK has hosted the Olympic Games on 3 occasions, 1908, 1948 and 2012. Question 28. Where does the Scottish Grand National take place? Fife, Edinburgh, Ayr, St Andrews. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Scottish Grand National takes place at Ayr. Question 29. What is the name of the holiday when banks and many other businesses are closed for the day? Credit holidays, branch holidays, bank holidays, business holidays. The correct option is C. Explanation. There are public holidays each year called bank holidays, when banks and many other businesses are closed for the day. Question 30. When is Boxing Day celebrated? The 31st of October, the 26th of December, the 24th of December, 01 St. January. The correct option is B. Explanation. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas Day, the 26th of December, and is a public holiday. Question 31. What does Hogmanay refer to? Christmas Day in Wales. New Year's Eve in Scotland. Christmas Day in Scotland. New Year's Eve in Wales. The correct option is B. Explanation. In Scotland, the 31st of December, New Year's Eve, is called Hogmanay. Question 32. Which flower is associated with Northern Ireland? The daffodil, the thistle, the shamrock, the rose. The correct option is C. Explanation. The flower associated with Northern Ireland is the shamrock. Question 33. Which two universities participate in an annual rowing race that takes place on the River Thames? The University of Oxford, the University of Cambridge, the University of Manchester, the University of Warwick. The correct option is A and B. Explanation. Rowing is also popular, both as a leisure activity and as a competitive sport. There is a popular yearly race on the Thames between Oxford and Cambridge universities. Question 34. Which of the following lines are from the national anthem? Choose two. Options. We shall never surrender. God save our gracious Queen. Send her victorious. The darling buds of May. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. The first verse of the national anthem is, God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. Question 35. When is St. David's Day celebrated? The 1st of March. The 17th of March. The 23rd of April. The 17th of April. The correct option is A. Explanation. St. David's Day, patron of Wales, is celebrated on the 1st of March. Question 36. Which flower is associated with Scotland? The shamrock, the rose, the daffodil, the thistle. The correct option is D. Explanation. The flower associated with Scotland is the thistle. Question 37. What is known as Lent? The 40 days before Christmas. The 40 days after Easter. The 40 days before Easter. The 40 days after Christmas. The correct option is C. Explanation. The 40 days before Easter are known as Lent. Question 38. Which of the following is a major horse racing event in England? The Wimbledon Championship, Royal Ascot, the Open Championship, the Six Nations Championship. The correct option is B. Explanation. Famous horse racing events include Royal Ascot, a 5-day race meeting in Berkshire, attended by members of the royal family, the Grand National at Aintree near Liverpool, and the Scottish Grand National at Ayr. Question 39. What is the name of the most famous cricket competition played between England and Australia? The Ashes, the Six Nations Championship, the Grand National, the Australian Open. The correct option is A. Explanation. The most famous cricket competition is the Ashes, which is a series of test matches played between England and Australia. Question 40. When is Halloween celebrated? 5th of November, 11th of November, 31st of October, 1st of April. The correct option is C. Explanation. Halloween is celebrated on the 31st of October. Question 41. What day relates to the death of Jesus Christ? Good Friday, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, Ash Wednesday. The correct option is A. Explanation. Easter takes place in March or April. It marks the death of Jesus Christ on Good Friday and his rising from the dead on Easter Sunday. Question 42. When does Easter take place? November or December? January or February? March or April? May or June? The correct option is C. Explanation. Easter takes place in March or April. Question 43. On what day is the birth of Jesus Christ celebrated? Father's Day, Christmas Day, New Year, Boxing Day. The correct option is B. Explanation. Christmas Day, 25th of December, celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. Question 44. Where does golf come from? Wales, Australia, Ireland, Scotland. The correct option is D. Explanation. The modern game of golf can be traced back to 15th century Scotland. Question 45. When do the television and newspapers have stories that are jokes until midday? Valentine's Day, Boxing Day, Halloween, April Fool's Day. The correct option is D. Explanation. On April Fool's Day, the 1st of April, the television and newspapers often have stories that are April Fool jokes. Question 46. Which two of the following are fundamental principles of British life? Monarchy, the rule of law, democracy, join a political party. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. The fundamental principles of British life include democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs, and participation in community life. Question 47. Haggis is a traditional food from which area? Wales, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland. The correct option is D. Explanation. Haggis is a traditional food from Scotland. Question 48. When is Christmas Day? 24th of December, 25th of December, 26th of December, 27th of December. The correct option is B. Explanation. Christmas Day is celebrated on the 25th of December. Question 49. How is New Year's Eve called in Scotland? Vaisakhi, Hanukkah, Diwali, Hogmanay. The correct option is D. Explanation. In Scotland, the 31st of December, New Year's Eve, is called Hogmanay. Question 50. Which of the following is a fundamental principle of British life? Communism, intolerance, individual liberty, inequity. The correct option is C. Explanation. Individual liberty is the correct answer. Question 51. What sort of event is the Grand National? Rugby, golf, horse racing, tennis. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Grand National is a horse racing event. Question 52. What charity works to preserve important buildings, coastline, and countryside? In the UK? Shelter, Age UK, Crisis, the National Trust. The correct option is D. Explanation. The National Trust is a charity that works to preserve important buildings, coastline, and countryside in the UK. Question 53. Which flower is associated with Wales? Daffodil, rose, shamrock, thistle. The correct option is A. Explanation. The flower associated with Wales is the daffodil. Question 54. What is the name of the tour guides that tell visitors stories about the Tower of London's history? Knights, Chartists, Suffragettes, Beefeaters. The correct option is D. Explanation. Tours are given at the Tower of London by the yeoman warders, also known as Beefeaters, who tell visitors about the building's history. Question 55. St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday in Northern Ireland. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. Only Scotland and Northern Ireland have their patron saint's day as an official holiday, although in Scotland not all businesses and offices will close. Question 56. What is Good Friday? The day when Jesus Christ rose from the dead. The day when Jesus Christ was born. The day when Jesus Christ died. The day when Jesus Christ became 30 years old. The correct option is C. Explanation. Good Friday marks the death of Jesus Christ during the Easter. Question 57. Which two of the following religious communities celebrate Diwali? Buddhists, Hindus, Jews, Sikhs. The correct option is B. Explanation. Hindus and Sikhs celebrate Diwali. Question 58. The national anthem, God Save the Queen, can only be played in the presence of the Queen. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. The national anthem is played at important national occasions and at events attended by the Queen or the royal family. Question 59. What is a bank holiday? A public holiday when banks are open all day. A public holiday for people working in banks. An additional day off that every worker in the UK is entitled to. A public holiday when banks and many other businesses are closed for the day. The correct option is D. Explanation. There are public holidays each year called bank holidays, when banks and many other businesses are closed for the day. Question 60. What is the cenotaph? A flower. A Christian church. A war memorial. A theatre. The correct option is C. Explanation. The cenotaph is a war memorial, and it is the site of the annual Remembrance Day service, attended by the Queen, politicians, and foreign ambassadors. Question 61. What are the 40 days before Easter called? Diwali, Lent, Hanukkah, Vaisakhi. The correct option is B. Explanation. The 40 days before Easter are known as Lent.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 5. Society, Social Issues and Rights. Question 1. Who should you contact to report a terrorist activity? Your local council, your local MP, your local police force, the Prime Minister. The correct option is C. Explanation. If you think someone is trying to persuade you to join an extremist or terrorist cause, you should notify your local police force. Question 2. How old do you have to be to drive a moped in the UK? 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old. The correct option is B. Explanation. In the UK, you need to be at least 16 years old to ride a moped, and there are other age requirements and special tests for driving large vehicles. Question 3. What percentage of the UK population has a parent or grandparent born outside of the UK? Around 5%, around 10%, around 15%, around 20%. The correct option is B. Explanation. Nearly 10% of the population has a parent or grandparent born outside the UK. Question 4. Who can apply for the National Citizen Service Programme? 14 and 15-year-olds. 15 and 16-year-olds. 16 and 17-year-olds. 17 and 18-year-olds. The correct option is C. Explanation. The National Citizen Service Programme gives 16 and 17-year-olds the opportunity to enjoy outdoor activities, develop their skills and take part in a community project. Question 5. Anyone who is violent towards their partner, whether they are a man or a woman, married or living together, can be prosecuted. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. Anyone who is violent towards their partner, whether they are a man or a woman, married or living together, can be prosecuted. Question 6. What is the minimum age required to drive a motorcycle? 16 years old. 17 years old. 18 years old. 21 years old. The correct option is B. Explanation. In the UK, you must be at least 17 years to drive a car or motorcycle, and you must have a driving license to drive on public roads. Question 7. Can court orders be obtained to protect a person from being forced into a marriage? Yes. No. The correct option is A. Explanation. Court orders can be obtained to protect a person from being forced into a marriage, or to protect a person in a forced marriage. Question 8. How old do you have to be to go into betting shops or gambling clubs? 18, 20, 16, 21. The correct option is A. Explanation. You have to be 18 to go into betting shops or gambling clubs. Question 9. If you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of the UK, you should choose 2 answers. Respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions. Buy a house in the UK. Look after yourself and your family. Marry a British citizen. The correct option is A and C. Explanation. If you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of the UK, you should respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions, look after yourself and your family. Respect and obey the law, treat others with fairness and look after the area in which you live and the environment. Question 10. What is known as the Idunkerque spirit? When the German Air Force bombed London and other British cities at nighttime. The evacuation of Allied soldiers from France during World War II. When new social classes appeared after the Black Death. The period when many refugees called Huguenots came from France. The correct option is B. Explanation. During World War II, as France fell, the British decided to evacuate British and French soldiers from France in a huge naval operation. Many civilian volunteers in small pleasure and fishing boats from Britain helped the Navy to rescue more than 300,000 men from the beaches around Dunkirk. Question 11. How old do you have to be to buy alcohol in the UK? 17, 18, 19, 20. The correct option is B. Explanation. It is a criminal offence to sell alcohol to anyone who is under 18 or to buy alcohol for people who are under the age of 18. There is one exception: people aged 16 or over can drink alcohol with a meal in a hotel or restaurant. Question 12. Who was Emmeline Pankhurst? A suffragette, a nurse, a doctor, a scientist. The correct option is A. Explanation. Emmeline Pankhurst was born in Manchester in 1858. She set up the Women's Franchise League in 1889, which fought to get the vote in local elections for married women. In 1903, she helped found the Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU. This was the first group whose members were called suffragettes. Question 13. Can the national anthem be played if the Queen is not present? Yes. No. The correct option is A. Explanation. Yes. The national anthem is played at important national occasions and at events attended by the Queen or the royal family.
Question 14. What should you do to make a complaint about the police? Choose 2. Answers. Write a complaint letter to the House of Commons. Go to the police station directly. Write to the Chief Constable of the police force involved. Write to your MP. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. Anyone can make a complaint about the police by going to a police station and writing to the Chief Constable of the police force involved. Complaints can also be made to an independent body, the Independent Police Complaints Commission in England and Wales, the Police Complaints Commissioner for Scotland, or the Police Ombudsman for Northern Ireland. Question 15. Which of the following charities helps the environment? NSPCC, Shelter, Friends of the Earth, Crisis. The correct option is C. Explanation. Friends of the Earth is an environmental charity. Question 16. What is the name of the UK currency? Euro, Pound sterling, Peso, Dollar. The correct option is B. Explanation. The currency in the UK is the pound sterling, symbol pound. Question 17. Which of the following statements is true? Women in Britain today make up about half of the workforce. Women in Britain today make up about 1/4 of the workforce. The correct option is A. Explanation. Women in Britain today make up about half of the workforce. Question 18. Which of the following is not a British banknote? £50, £25, £20, £5. The correct option is B. Explanation. There are no £25 notes in the UK. Question 19. The names or photographs of young people found guilty of a crime can be published in newspapers or used by the media. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. False. Members of the public are not allowed in youth courts, and the name or photographs of the accused young person cannot be published in newspapers or used by the media. Question 20. What do you need to drive in the UK? An L plate, a national insurance number, a valid driving license, an R plate. The correct option is C. Explanation. In the UK, you must have a driving license to drive on public roads. Question 21. Why were women given the right to vote? In recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the First World War. In recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the Second World War. In recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the Crimean War.
In recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the Civil War. The correct option is A. Explanation. In 1918, women over the age of 30 were given voting rights and the right to stand for Parliament, partly in recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during The First World War. Question 22. Why is 1928 an important year in women's voting history? Women were given the right to vote at the age of 18, the same as men. Women were given the right to vote at the age of 25. Women were given the right to vote at the age of 30. Women were given the right to vote at the age of 21, the same as men. The correct option is D. Explanation. Women were given the right to vote at the age of 21, the same as men. Question 23. Which two responsibilities will you have as a British citizen? To buy food locally. To volunteer in a community project at least once a year. To look after yourself and your family. To respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions. The correct option is C and D. Explanation. If you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of the UK, you should respect and obey the law, look after yourself and your family, respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions, treat others with fairness and look after the area in which you live and the environment. Question 24. What did Emmeline Pankhurst fight for? The right to liberty and security. The right for women to vote. Freedom of expression. The right to a fair trial. The correct option is B. Explanation. Emmeline Pankhurst she set up the Women's Franchise League in 1889, which fought to get the vote in local elections for married women. In 1903 she helped found the Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU. This was the first group whose members were called suffragettes. The group used civil disobedience as part of their protest to gain the vote for women. In 1918, women over the age of 30 were given voting rights and the right to stand for Parliament, partly in recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the First World War. Question 25. Police complaints can only be made by writing to the Chief Constable of the police force involved. True. False. The correct option is B.
Explanation. Anyone can make a complaint about the police by going to a police station and writing to the Chief Constable of the police force involved. Complaints can also be made to an independent body, the Independent Police Complaints Commission in England and Wales, the Police Complaints Commissioner for Scotland or the Police Ombudsman for Northern Ireland. Question 26. What was the name of the activist group who fought for the women's right to vote? Chartists, Beefeaters, Suffragettes, Quakers. The correct option is C. Explanation. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, an increasing number of women campaigned and demonstrated for greater rights and, in particular, the right to vote. They formed the women's suffrage movement and became known as the suffragettes. Question 27. Which of the following is an example of criminal offense? Smoking in public places where it is not allowed. Disputes about faulty goods or services. Disputes about an unfair dismissal in the workplace. A dispute between the landlord and the tenants who have not paid the rent. The correct option is A. Explanation. Smoking in public places. It is against the law to smoke tobacco products in nearly every enclosed public place in the UK. There are signs displayed to tell you where you cannot smoke. Question 28. As a British citizen, you should respect and obey the law. Vote in all elections. Take part in religious activities. Look after the area in which you live and the environment. The correct option is A and D. Explanation. As a British citizen, you should respect and obey the law and look after the area in which you live and the environment are the correct answers. Question 29. Female genital mutilation, FGM, or taking a girl or woman abroad for FGM is illegal in the UK and it is a criminal offence. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 30. What year were women given the right to vote? 1918, 1925, 1949, 1914. The correct option is A. Explanation. In 1918, women over the age of 30 were given voting rights and the right to stand for Parliament, partly in recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the First World War. Question 31. If you are a dog owner, which two things should your dog's collar have when you go out for a walk? The owner's address, the owner's name, the dog's breed, the dog's name. The correct option is A and B.
Explanation. All dogs in public places must wear a collar showing the name and address of the owner. Question 32. In 1348, 1/3 of the population in England, Wales and Scotland died as a result of which disease? Measles, leprosy, smallpox, the Black Death. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 1348, a disease, probably a form of plague, came to Britain. This was known as the Black Death. 1/3 of the population of England died and a similar proportion in Scotland and Wales. Question 33. If a husband forces his wife to have sex, he can be charged with rape. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 34. Which of the following is an example of civil law? To sell tobacco products to anyone under the age of 18. To buy alcohol for people who are under the age of 18. Discrimination in the workplace. To carry a weapon of any kind, even if it is for self-defense. The correct option is C. Explanation. Discrimination in the workplace is an example of civil law. Question 35. Complaints against the police can only be made by writing to the Police Complaints Commissioner. True. False. The correct option is B. Explanation. Anyone can make a complaint about the police by going to a police station and writing to the Chief Constable of the police force involved. Complaints can also be made to an independent body, the Independent Police Complaints Commission in England and Wales, the Police Complaints Commissioner for Scotland, or the Police Ombudsman for Northern Ireland. Question 36. When did women get the right to vote at the same age as men? 1918, 1928, 1938, 1948. The correct option is B. Explanation. In 1928, women were given the right to vote at the age of 21, the same as men. Question 37. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, which industry was badly affected? Housing construction, shipbuilding, automobile, aviation. The correct option is B. Explanation. During the Great Depression, in the 1930s, the traditional heavy industries such as shipbuilding were badly affected. Question 38. Who was the leader of the suffragettes, the group that campaigned for women's rights to vote? Queen Victoria, Oliver Cromwell, Florence Nightingale, Emmeline Pankhurst. The correct option is D. Explanation. Emmeline Pankhurst was the leader of the suffragettes. Question 39. If you think someone is trying to persuade you to join an extremist or terrorist activity, who should you contact?
The Home Office, your local police force, your local MP, your family. The correct option is B. Explanation. If you think someone is trying to persuade you to join an extremist or terrorist cause, you should notify your local police force. Question 40. Racial crime and smoking in public places are examples of civil offenses, criminal offenses. The correct option is B. Explanation. Racial crime and smoking in public places are examples of criminal offenses. Question 41. Anyone can make a complaint about the police by writing to the chief constable of the police force involved. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 42. When walking your dog in a public place, you must ensure that your dog does not play with other dogs, that your dog wears a collar showing the name and address of the owner, that your dog wears a high visibility jacket, that your dog does not bark. The correct option is B. Explanation. All dogs in public places must wear a collar showing the name and address of the owner.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 6. Famous Personalities. Question 1. Who built the Tower of London? William the Conqueror, Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth I, Oliver Cromwell. The correct option is A. Explanation. William the Conqueror. Question 2. Who was Admiral Nelson? One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans. A British officer in charge of the British Army at the Battle of Waterloo. A British general who established the authority of the English Parliament. A British officer in charge of the British fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar against the Spanish fleet. The correct option is D. Explanation. Admiral Nelson oversaw the British fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar against the Spanish fleet and was killed in the battle. Question 3. Who is the heir to the throne of Britain? The Prince of Wales, the Prince of Cambridge, the Prince of Edinburgh, the Duke of York. The correct option is A. Explanation. Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, is the heir to the throne. Question 4. Who is the spiritual leader of the Church of England? The Archbishop of Canterbury, the Archbishop of London, the Archbishop of Birmingham, the Archbishop of Manchester. The correct option is A. Explanation. The spiritual leader of the Church of England is the Archbishop of Canterbury. Question 5. Who is the head of the Church of England? The Prime Minister, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Pope, the Monarch. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Monarch is the head of the Church of England. Question 6. Who was the first British Prime Minister? Winston Churchill, Earl of Wilmington, Henry Pelham, Sir Robert Walpole. The correct option is D. Explanation. The most important minister in Parliament became known as the Prime Minister. The first man to be called this was Sir Robert Walpole, who was Prime Minister from 1721 to 1742. Question 7. Who was the first Archbishop of Canterbury? Saint Patrick, Saint Augustine, Saint Andrew, Saint Columba. The correct option is B. Explanation. Saint Augustine led missionaries from Rome, who spread Christianity in the south. Saint Augustine became the first Archbishop of Canterbury. Question 8. What happened to Mary, Queen of Scots, after being sent to prison for 20 years by her cousin Queen Elizabeth I? She got married. She was sent to France. She was executed. She was sent to Scotland. The correct option is C. Explanation. Mary was executed, accused of plotting against Elizabeth I. Question 9. Who came from the Netherlands to become the British monarch? William II, Charles II, Edward II, George II. The correct option is B. Explanation. In May 1660, Parliament invited Charles II to come back from exile in the Netherlands. He was crowned King Charles II of England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Question 10. What is the title of the Queen's eldest son, Prince Charles? Prince of Kent, Prince of Wales, Prince of Hanover, Prince of Brunswick. The correct option is B. Explanation. Prince Charles is also known as the Prince of Wales. Question 11. Under which king did the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England unite to defeat the Vikings? William of Orange, King Alfred the Great, Henry VIII, Robert the Bruce. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England united under King Alfred the Great, who defeated the Vikings. Question 12. Who was given the title of Lord Protector? Charles I, Charles II, Winston Churchill, Oliver Cromwell. The correct option is D. Explanation. Oliver Cromwell was given the title of Lord Protector and ruled until his death in 1658. Question 13. Who is the patron saint of Scotland? Saint David, Saint Patrick, Saint George, Saint Andrew. The correct option is D. Explanation. The patron saint of Scotland is Saint Andrew.
Question 14. What kind of movies did Academy Award winner Nick Park specialize in? Action movies, animated movies, thrillers, horror movies. The correct option is B. Explanation. Britain continues to be particularly strong in special effects and animation. One example is the work of Nick Park, who has won 4 Oscars for his animated films, including 3 for films featuring Wallace and Gromit. Question 15. What did Isaac Newton discover? Gravity, penicillin, insulin, light bulb. The correct option is A. Explanation. Newton's most famous published work was Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, mathematical principle of natural philosophy, which showed how gravity applied to the whole universe. Newton also discovered that white light is made up of the colors of the rainbow. Question 16. Which of the following actresses has not won an Oscar? Tilda Swinton, Emily Watson, Dame Judi Dench, Kate Winslet. The correct option is B. Explanation. British actors to have won Oscars include Colin Firth, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Dame Judi Dench, Kate Winslet and Tilda Swinton. Emily Watson has not won an Oscar yet. Question 17. Who was a famous Art Deco ceramic designer? Alexander McQueen, Thomas Chippendale, Clarice Cliff, Mary Quant. The correct option is C. Explanation. Britain has produced many great designers, from Thomas Chippendale, who designed furniture in the 18th century, to Clarice Cliff, who designed Art Deco ceramics, to Sir Terence Conran, a 20th century interior designer. Question 18. Who was William Wilberforce? A poet, a sportsman, a politician, a musician. The correct option is C. Explanation. William Wilberforce, an evangelical Christian and a member of Parliament, also played an important part in changing the law. Along with other abolitionists, people who supported the abolition of slavery, he succeeded in turning public opinion against the slave trade. Question 19. What was Margaret Thatcher famous for? She was the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. She set up the Women's Franchise League. She was the founder of modern nursing. She fought for the right to vote for women. The correct option is A. Explanation. Margaret Thatcher was the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. Question 20. Who was voted the greatest Briton of all time in 2002? Mo Farah, Admiral Nelson, Winston Churchill, Clement Attlee. The correct option is C.
Explanation. In 2002, Winston Churchill was voted the greatest Briton of all time by the public. Question 21. What was Edward Elgar famous for? He was a musician. He was a tennis player. He was a comedian. He was an actor. The correct option is A. Explanation. Sir Edward Elgar, 1857–1934, was a musician. His best-known work is probably the Pomp and Circumstance marches. March No. 1, Land of Hope and Glory, is usually played at the last night of the proms at the Royal Albert Hall. Question 22. Who is the patron saint of England? St. George, St. Patrick, St. David, St. Andrew. The correct option is A. Explanation. The patron saint of England is St. George. Question 23. Who was Florence Nightingale? An economist, a painter, a nurse, a poet. The correct option is C. Explanation. Florence Nightingale was a nurse. She is often regarded as the founder of modern nursing. Question 24. What was Isaac Newton known for? The discovery of insulin, the discovery of gravity, the discovery of penicillin, the discovery of steam power. The correct option is B. Explanation. Newton's most famous published work was Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, mathematical principle of natural philosophy, which showed how gravity applied to the whole universe. Question 25. Which two of the following are famous British Paralympians? Dame Kelly Holmes, Baroness Tanni Grey-Thompson, Jane Torval, Ellie Simmonds. The correct option is B and D. Explanation. Baroness Tanni Grey-Thompson and Ellie Simmonds are the correct answers. Question 26. Who developed the radar? John Logie Baird, Sir Frank Whittle, Sir Christopher Cockerell, Sir Robert Watson Watt. Explanation. Sir Robert Watson Watt developed the radar. Question 27. Who was voted the greatest Briton of all time in 2002? Isaac Newton, Winston Churchill, Alexander Fleming, Mo Farah. The correct option is B. Explanation. Winston Churchill remains a much admired figure to this day, and in 2002 was voted the greatest Briton of all time by the public. Question 28. Who was the first man in the world to run 1 mile in under 4 minutes? Sir Chris Hoy, Sir Roger Bannister, David Weir, Mo Farah. The correct option is B. Explanation. Sir Roger Bannister was the first man in the world to run a mile in under 4 minutes, in 1954.
Question 29. Who became Prime Minister and was an inspirational leader to the British people during World War II? Winston Churchill, Clement Attlee, Margaret Thatcher, Sir Robert Walpole. The correct option is A. Winston Churchill. Question 30. What did Sir Frank Whittle invent in the 1930s? Radar, hovercraft, jet engine, ballpoint pen. The correct option is C. Explanation. The jet engine was developed in Britain in the 1930s by Sir Frank Whittle. Question 31. Who was the captain of the English football team that won the World Cup in 1966? Sir Roger Bannister, Sir Jackie Stewart, Sir Ian Botham, Bobby Moore. The correct option is D. Explanation. Bobby Moore captained the English football team that won the World Cup in 1966. Question 32. Who was the first female Prime Minister of the UK? Mary Stuart, Theresa May, Margaret Thatcher, Florence Nightingale. The correct option is C. Explanation. Margaret Thatcher was the first woman Prime Minister of the UK. Question 33. What did the Scottish John Logie Baird develop? Television, radar, personal computer, radio. The correct option is A. Explanation. The television was developed by Scotsman John Logie Baird in the 1920s.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 7. Wars and Conflicts. Question 1. When did the First World War end? At 12 p.m. on the 11th of November 1914. At 12 p.m. on the 11th of November 1918. At 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1914. At 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918. The correct option is D. Explanation. The First World War ended at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918 with victory for Britain and its allies. Question 2. Who fought in the English Civil War of 1642? The House of York and the House of Lancaster. The Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings. The Cavaliers and the Roundheads. The House of Fraser and the House of Stuart. The correct option is C. Explanation. The civil war between the king and parliament began in 1642. The country split into those who supported the king, the Cavaliers, and those who supported parliament, the Roundheads. Question 3. What was the first war to be extensively covered by the media? The Boer War. The First World War. The Second World War. The Crimean War. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Crimean War was the first war to be extensively covered by the media through news, stories and photographs. Question 4. Who died at the Battle of Trafalgar? Admiral Nelson, Henry VIII, Oliver Cromwell, Napoleon. The correct option is A. Explanation. Admiral Nelson was in charge of the British fleet at Trafalgar and was killed in the battle. Question 5. Which country sent a fleet of ships to England in 1588? France, Germany, Spain, Italy. The correct option is C. Explanation. Elizabeth became one of the most popular monarchs in English history, particularly after 1588, when the English defeated the Spanish Armada, a large fleet of ships, which had been sent by Spain to conquer England and restore Catholicism. Question 6. Against which country did Britain fight at the Battle of Waterloo? Germany, Italy, France, Spain. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1815, the French wars ended with the defeat of the Emperor Napoleon by the Duke of Wellington at the Battle of Waterloo. Question 7. Who defeated the Vikings? Harold, Edward I of England, King Arthur, King Alfred the Great. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England united under King Alfred the Great, who defeated the Vikings. Question 8. Boudicca was a tribal leader who fought against which foreign invaders? The Normans, the Vikings, the Anglo-Saxons, the Romans. The correct option is D. Explanation. One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudicca, the queen of the Iceni. Question 9. Who was the tribal leader who fought against the Romans? Columba, Claudius, Hadrian, Boudicca. The correct option is D. Explanation. One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudicca. Question 10. Which armed force was used in the Battle of Britain? The Royal Navy, the Police Force, the Naval Service, the Royal Air Force. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Royal Air Force. Question 11. Where did the Spanish Armada come from? France, Spain, Italy, South America. The correct option is B. Explanation. In 1588 the English defeated the Spanish Armada, a large fleet of ships, which had been sent by Spain to conquer England and restore Catholicism. Question 12. Who was in charge of the British fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar? Oliver Cromwell, the Duke of Wellington, Robert the Bruce, Admiral Nelson. The correct option is D. Explanation. Admiral Nelson was in charge of the British fleet at Trafalgar and was killed in the battle. Question 13. Who did Britain fight against in the Crimean War? Turkey, Russia, France, Germany. The correct option is B. Explanation. From 1853 to 1856, Britain fought with Turkey and France against Russia in the Crimean War. Question 14. Which of the following was a crucial aerial battle fought between Germany and Britain during World War II? The Battle of Britain, the Battle of Worcester, the Battle of Dunbar, the Battle of Marston Moor. The correct option is A. Explanation. The Battle of Britain was a crucial aerial battle fought between Germany and Britain during World War II. Question 15. During the reign of Elizabeth I, a large fleet of ships was sent to England to conquer the country and to restore Catholicism. Where did this fleet come from? France, Portugal, Spain, Italy. The correct option is C. Explanation. Elizabeth I became one of the most popular monarchs in English history, particularly after 1588, when the English defeated the Spanish Armada, a large fleet of ships, which had been Sent by Spain to conquer England and restore Catholicism. Question 16. Which of the following wars took place between 1899 and 1902 in South Africa? The 100 Years' War, the Boer War, the First World War, the Crimean War. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Boer War took place between 1899 and 1902 in South Africa. Question 17. The last battle between Britain and France was the Battle of Waterloo. True. False. The correct option is A. Explanation. This statement is true. Question 18. When did the World War I come to an end? In 1922. In 1918. In 1945. In 1943. The correct option is B. Explanation. The World War I ended in 1918. Question 19. World War II started as a result of Germany invading which country? France, Russia, Poland, Austria. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Second World War started when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. Britain and France declared war in order to stop his aggression. Question 20. Which two of the following are Civil War battles? The Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of Marston Moor, the Battle of Naseby, the Battle of Agincourt. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. The battles of Marston Moor and Naseby. Question 21. The assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria in 1914 led to which of the following wars? The Crimean War, the First World War, the Civil War, the Second World War. The correct option is B. Explanation. On the 28th of June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated. This set off a chain of events leading to the First World War, 1914–18. Question 22. What sort of battle was the Battle of Britain, fought between Germany and Britain in the summer of 1940? A battle in the sea, an aerial battle, a battle in the mountains, a battle without rifles. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Battle of Britain was a crucial aerial battle fought between Germany and Britain in the summer of 1940. Question 23. When did Germany invade Poland? 1942, 1941, 1940, 1939. The correct option is D. Explanation. Germany invaded Poland in 1939. Question 24. In which country of the British Empire did the Boer War, 1899–1902, take place? Netherlands, Falkland Islands, Gibraltar, South Africa. The correct option is D. Explanation. The Boer War of 1899–1902 took place in South Africa with settlers from the Netherlands, called the Boers. Question 25. In which battle did Admiral Nelson die? The Battle of Hastings, the Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of Trafalgar, the Battle of Bannockburn. The correct option is C. Explanation. Admiral Nelson was in charge of the British fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar and was killed in the battle. Question 26. What battle is commemorated in the Bayeux Tapestry? The Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of Trafalgar, the Battle of Hastings, the Battle of Britain. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Battle of Hastings is commemorated in a great piece of embroidery, known as the Bayeux Tapestry. Question 27. Who supported King Charles I during the Civil War? Roundheads, suffragettes, Quakers, Cavaliers. The correct option is D. Explanation. During the Civil War between the King and Parliament, the country split into those who supported the King, the Cavaliers, and those who supported Parliament, the Roundheads. Question 28. What is the name of the long war that English kings fought with France in the Middle Ages? The Crimean War, the First World War, the 100 Years' War, the Boer War. The correct option is C. Explanation. English kings fought a long war with France, called the 100 Years' War, even though it actually lasted 116 years. Question 29. Who was supported by clansmen from the Scottish Highlands and raised an army in 1745? Bonnie Prince Charlie, Robert Burns, Oliver Cromwell, Kenneth MacAlpin. The correct option is A. Explanation. In 1745 there was another attempt to put a Stuart king back on the throne in place of George I's son, George II. Charles Edward Stuart, Bonnie Prince Charlie, the grandson of James II, landed in Scotland. He was supported by clansmen from the Scottish Highlands and raised an army. Question 30. During the reign of Charles II, parts of London were destroyed. What was the cause of this destruction? A war, a flood, a fire, an earthquake. The correct option is C. Explanation. During Charles II's reign, a great fire destroyed much of the city, including many churches and St. Paul's Cathedral. Question 31. What was the last battle between Great Britain and France? The Battle of Trafalgar, the Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of Hastings, Battle of Agincourt. The correct option is B. Explanation. In 1815, the French wars ended with the defeat of the Emperor Napoleon by the Duke of Wellington at the Battle of Waterloo. Question 32. What led the American colonies to want their independence from Britain? The British government wanted to control their borders. They were running out of resources. The British government wanted to tax them. There were not enough jobs for the local people. The correct option is C. Explanation. The British government wanted to tax the colonies. Question 33. Which country was invaded by Germany in 1939? Austria, Italy, Russia, Poland. The correct option is D. Explanation. Germany invaded Poland in 1939. Question 34. When did the English defeat the Spanish Armada? 1466, 1066, 1254, 1588. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 1588 the English defeated the Spanish Armada. Question 35. Which two houses fought in the Wars of the Roses? The House of Chester, the House of York, the House of Lancaster, the House of Newcastle. The correct option is B and C. Explanation. The Wars of the Roses were fought between the supporters of two families, the House of Lancaster and the House of York. Question 36. Women over the age of 30 were given the right to vote as a result of their contribution towards the war effort. Which war was that? The Second World War, the Crimean War, the First World War, the Civil War. The correct option is C. Explanation. In 1918, women over the age of 30 were given voting rights and the right to stand for Parliament, partly in recognition of the contribution women made to the war effort during the First World War.
This is a complete course for life in the UK test. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
Chapter 8, Science, Arts and Literature. Question 1. Who was the British scientist who co-discovered the structure of the DNA molecule in the 1950s? Sir Ian Wilmot, Keith Campbell, James Watt, Francis Crick. The correct option is D. Explanation. The structure of the DNA molecule was discovered in 1953 through work at British universities in London and Cambridge. This discovery contributed to many scientific advances, particularly in medicine and fighting crime. Francis Crick, 1916 to 2004, was one of those awarded the Nobel Prize for this discovery. Question 2. Isambard Kingdom Brunel was responsible for the construction of the Great Western Railway, the invention of the television, the construction of the Tower of London, the discovery of insulin. The correct option is A. Explanation. Brunel was originally from Portsmouth, England. He was an engineer who built tunnels, bridges, railway lines and ships. He was responsible for constructing the Great Western Railway, which was the first major railway built in Britain. It runs from Paddington Station in London to the southwest of England, the West Midlands and Wales. Question 3. Who led a team of scientists to split the atom for the first time? Alexander Fleming, Alan Turing, Ernest Rutherford, Sir Peter Mansfield. The correct option is C. Explanation. Scientists led by Ernest Rutherford, working at Manchester and then Cambridge University, were the first to split the atom and took part in the Manhattan Project in the United States, which developed the atomic bomb. Question 4. What was invented by Alan Turing in the 1930s? The jet engine, the television, the Turing machine, the ball pen. The correct option is C. Explanation. A Turing machine is a theoretical mathematical device invented by Alan Turing, 1912–54, a British mathematician, in the 1930s. Question 5. During the Enlightenment, Adam Smith developed ideas about physics, economics, science, engineering. The correct option is B. Explanation. During the Enlightenment, Adam Smith developed ideas about economics which are still referred to today. Question 6. Which of the following poems is about a group of people going on a pilgrimage? The Canterbury Tales, All the World's a Stage, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Great Expectations. The correct option is A. Explanation. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a series of poems in English about a group of people going to Canterbury on a pilgrimage. The people decided to tell each other stories on the journey, and the poems describe the travelers and some of the stories they told. This collection of poems is called the Canterbury Tales. Question 7. Which invention led to the development of Britain during the Industrial Revolution? Magnetic resonance imaging, steam power, radar, hovercraft. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Industrial Revolution was the rapid development of industry in Britain in the 18th and 19th centuries. Britain was the first country to industrialize on a large scale. It happened because of the development of machinery and the use of steam power. Question 8. Which of the following countries helped Britain to develop the Concorde? Germany, Norway, Italy, France. The correct option is D. Explanation. Britain and France developed the world's only supersonic commercial airliner, Concorde. Question 9. Why were canals built during the Industrial Revolution? To link the factories to towns and cities and to the ports. To make space for the large fleet of British ships. To increase the number of water mills in the UK. To increase the amount of water in towns and cities. The correct option is A. Explanation. Canals were built to link the factories to towns and cities and to the ports, particularly in the new industrial areas in the middle and north of England. Question 10. Which of the following poets was inspired by nature? John Masefield, Wilfred Owen, Siegfried Sassoon, William Wordsworth. The correct option is D. Explanation. British poets, including William Wordsworth, were inspired by nature. Question 11. Who invented the World Wide Web? Sir Tim Berners-Lee, Sir Peter Mansfield, Sir Ian Wilmot, Sir Robert Edwards. The correct option is A. Explanation. The inventor of the World Wide Web was Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Question 12. Where is the Tate Art Gallery located? Glasgow, Cardiff, London, Belfast. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Tate Britain and Tate Modern are in London. Question 13. What flower did William Wordsworth write about? Rose, daffodil, thistle, shamrock. The correct option is B. Explanation. William Wordsworth wrote Ether Daffodils. Question 14. What is the Enlightenment? A period of total peace in England. A period when new ideas about politics, philosophy and science were developed. A period when England became the largest empire the world had ever seen. A period of economic recovery after the Second World War. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Enlightenment was a period during the 18th century when new ideas about politics, philosophy and science were developed. Question 15. Where does the Fringe Festival take place? Fraserburgh, Edinburgh, Inverness, St Andrews. The correct option is B. Explanation. The Edinburgh Festival takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland, every summer. It is a series of different arts and cultural festivals, with the biggest and most well-known being the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, the Fringe. Question 16. What stories are associated with Geoffrey Chaucer? The Cambridge Tales, the Eastbourne Tales, the Canterbury Tales, the London Tales. The correct option is C. Explanation. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a series of poems in English about a group of people going to Canterbury on a pilgrimage. This collection of poems is called the Canterbury Tales. Question 17. What building was constructed in Hyde Park to hold the Great Exhibition of 1851? The Crystal Palace, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, Apsley House. The correct option is A. Explanation. In 1851, the Great Exhibition opened in Hyde Park in the Crystal Palace, a huge building made of steel and glass. Exhibits ranged from huge machines to handmade goods. Question 18. Who was born in Stratford-upon-Avon? Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, William Shakespeare, Thomas Hardy. The correct option is C. Explanation. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. Question 19. What is the Proms? An annual event that gives awards in a range of categories, such as Best British Group and Best British Solo Artist. An annual cultural festival which includes music, dance, art and original performances. Largely in Welsh. An 8-week summer season of daily orchestral classical music concerts. Light-hearted plays with music and comedy. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Proms is an 8-week summer season of orchestral classical music that takes place in various venues, including the Royal Albert Hall in London. Question 20. What is the Turner Prize? A Literature Award. A Music Award. A Contemporary Art Award. A Theatre Award. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Turner Prize was established in 1984 and celebrates contemporary art. The Turner Prize is recognized as one of the most prestigious visual art awards in Europe. Question 21. The Man Booker Prize is awarded in which of the following categories? Films, sport, literature, music. The correct option is C. Explanation. The Man Booker Prize for Fiction is awarded annually for the best fiction novel, literature, written by an author from the Commonwealth, Ireland or Zimbabwe. It has been awarded since 1968. Past winners include Ian McEwan, Hilary Mantel and Julian Barnes. Question 22. Who designed the cenotaph? Sir Norman Foster, Lancelot Brown, Sir Edwin Lutyens, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. The correct option is C. Explanation. Sir Edwin Lutyens was responsible for designing many war memorials throughout the world, including the cenotaph in Whitehall. Question 23. Which novel written by J.R.R. Tolkien was voted the country's best-loved novel in 2003? Oliver Twist, James Bond, Pride and Prejudice, The Lord of the Rings. The correct option is D. Explanation. In 2003, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien was voted the country's best-loved novel. Question 24. What type of literature are the Canterbury Tales? Poems, novels, jokes, fables. The correct option is A. Explanation. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a series of poems in English about a group of people going to Canterbury on a pilgrimage. This anthology of poems is called the Canterbury Tales. Question 25. Who wrote Sherlock Holmes? Evelyn Waugh, Sir Kingsley Amis, Graham Greene, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The correct option is D. Explanation. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is the author of Sherlock Holmes. Question 26. What type of character was played by Charlie Chaplin? A superhero, a tramp, a scientific genius, a bandit. The correct option is B. Explanation. Sir Charlie Chaplin became famous in silent movies for his tramp character and was one of many British actors to make a career in Hollywood. Question 27. Who was the first person in England to print books using a printing press? William Shakespeare, John Barber, Geoffrey Chaucer, William Caxton. The correct option is D. Explanation. William Caxton was the first person in England to print books using a printing press. Question 28. Which of the following plays was written by William Shakespeare? Pride and Prejudice, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Sense and Sensibility, Great Expectations. The correct option is B. Explanation. William Shakespeare's most famous plays include A Midsummer Night's Dream, Question 29. Who wrote The Daffodils? William Blake, Robert Browning, Lord Byron, William Wordsworth. The correct option is D. Explanation. The British poet William Wordsworth wrote The Daffodils. That's it for today's video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and also subscribe for more. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.